Good evening. Hello, Christopher.
Hi, Gita.
Tonight we are meeting together to discuss a quite important topic, how to identify key requirements, which is the beginning of something big, what we prepared due to zero defects direction in quality management, quality assurance. So let's maybe wait a little bit for the people who are joining to see who is with us, and maybe those people who are already joining will be very happy, more than happy, to learn a little bit about you. So we are asking you kindly to write your name on the chat. From where are you from? Maybe what is the scope of your responsibility? Because in a second we'll go further with the topic. However, let's wait a little bit for people who still are joining. I will check if we already have some names on the chat. Not yet.
No, yeah, don't be shy. As usual, don't be shy. I know it's a start of the new year, so happy 2025 to everyone. But let's see who's ready to have a conversation.
Yes, and this is, by the way, first webinar from Qualitywise. Last was end of November, so we did not see each other almost for 2 months. So we hope you would really enjoy the next meeting with us. Okay, we see already few first people. Let me maybe show you who we are, who we have with us. 1 second. We have already a first person from Tunisia. Oh, quite far from my home. But also we have India, which is much better than Tunisia due to the distance. We have Switzerland. We have a LinkedIn user, Ute. Oh, hello, Ute. We know each other. We have Łukasz. We have LinkedIn user. Unfortunately, if you will not allow LinkedIn to display your name, we will not see who is with us. Who else? Quality resident with us. Who else? Maria. Project management, program management. Oh, very nice, very relevant person with the position. We have Frank, we have Zdenka, we have Maria. Great, Spain, Barcelona. So a lot of people from different places. We have Brodnica in Poland, Wrocław, yes. Who else is with us? Alexander Dennis, Corey, Welsh. Great. Robert from Romania.
Yeah, we have two people from Scotland, so I know those two people. So hello, hello Georgie,
yes.
Hello Corey.
No, Russ, Tunisia again. So we can see quite many originations, locations. So quite nice that we are almost in so many countries. Okay, all of you are still joining. We are very happy. However, let's keep going. Yes, because unfortunately we cannot display all of you this moment. However, we are very happy that you are still joining, and there is more and more of you with us. Okay, so, and Christopher, are you ready?
I'm ready. Are you ready?
Great. So let me share with you the presentation to start how to identify key requirements. At the very beginning, before we'll start, let us maybe tell you the idea. What was the reason why our webinar today is about defining the key requirements. In our practice, when we work with different companies, we see that zero defect direction is actually very connected to continuous improvement, and also with the requirements from the customers, yes, to have easygoing production from our suppliers and from supply chains, and simply to meet the requirements. That's why we designed next 6 webinars, starting from the one tonight, where we would like to go through the process of meeting many requirements on the way, to later that we could say that this zero defect direction is more possible to be reached, because we are on the way during this webinar. We are also very curious. How do you think? Can we achieve zero defect production or not? But this is the question which I will probably ask also at the end of our meeting. Every month, end of the month, we'll meet for each webinar with you. However, we would like to appreciate those of you who are really interested in those topics and are connected for your evenings with us or afternoons. And if any one of you will be with us 4 times, at least 4 times for these webinars, we will issue for you the certificate of attendance, yes, by Qualitywise, that you could have a confirmation of, structurizing your knowledge in this topic. So to have this certification of attendance, it's really important that you will write on the chat your name and surname under the comment, that we later could recognize who was with us, okay? At the end of the chat, I will also repeat for those who still are joining, because I see a lot of people is really joining all the time. Christopher, would you like to add something here in this topic?
Yeah, I think having that certificate of attendance and to certify you in this course is important, because you can use that for your learning and development goals within your company. It's good to prove, that you've learned something and that you can replicate it and understand the best practices of the industry for automotive. So that's the reason for why we want to share the certificate, to show that you have learned something. It is official training. So it's a great opportunity to give you that, certificate to say you've joined and you've learned something.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let me go further. Okay, for those of you who do not know what Qualitywise is doing, we are concentrating on quality assurance mostly in automotive industry. However, not only. We are doing trainings, audits, and consulting. We are a group of different people from different countries, so we are international, and we are talking different languages. So if you are looking for particular support in different languages, we are trying to help. And feel free to contact us. Yes. However, our core businesses are trainings, audits, and consulting around quality assurance, and mostly in automotive industry. Okay. So before we'll also jump into, maybe there are some people who still haven't had the opportunity to join our webinar. So my name is Agata Lewkowska. I'm a Qualitywise founder from Poland, and I'm working with automotive industry since 2007, always in quality assurance, quality management, which actually is for me quite fun, because I like all of these requirements to meet the customer satisfaction, yes, so understand them well. So I hope I can share with you my best knowledge. With me is Christopher. Christopher, can you say a few words about yourself?
So hello everyone, for those who don't know me and haven't been a part of the Qualitywise webinars and worked in a professional capacity, my name is Christopher Scott, and I'm the head of supplier quality in an automotive OEM, but I'm also the Qualitywise UK contact. So I have a dual role, and I'd like to share my experience that I've gained of more than 15 years worth of experience in automotive, traditionally as the OEM. In some cases, when I started my career, I was a tier 1, but the vast majority of my experience has mainly been the customer, which is the automotive equipment manufacturer in vehicle manufacturing. So I am an expert in root cause analysis and crisis management. I develop suppliers through using APQP and PPAP. And I'm also a first and second party auditor in ISO 9001 and IATF 16949 as a lead auditor. So, pleasure to meet you all.
Thank you, Christopher. So now, when we know each other, I believe we can start. So, dears, how do you understand zero defect? What do you think about this? Is it possible to achieve? This is the moment when we are asking you to use chat to write your best knowledge. How do you find this question? We will of course display your answers for nice interaction here, because we don't.
We want to know what you think. What do you think? What is zero defects? What does that mean to you as quality professionals, as project managers, as reliability engineers, to those who do that type of role? What does zero defects mean to you as a person or as to a professional?
Yes, or maybe it's not possible that you're applying this in your organizations. You're just doing simply continuous improvement and you're not using, even thinking of zero defects. Anything what you experienced with this? There must be some reason why you are with us tonight or or today, because some of you might be in different time zones than here we in Europe. Oh, we have Brazil from São Paulo, so definitely afternoon. We have first answers. Let me display. So, preventive quality, process control. Yes, nice answers can be. What else? It would be nice to have currently something I have not seen due to so many people being involved in the process. This is a nice comment. However, due to many people, maybe it's good that so many people are involved, because then everyone is responsible for this direction. Utopia. Yeah, maybe. Yes, why not? What else? This utopia is really nice comment. Zero defects is a way of thinking and doing what reinforces the idea that defects are not acceptable and that everyone must strive to get it right the first time. Oh, I really like this, get things right at the first time. Hello, Peter Jan. Zero ppm objective. Yes, could be. This is very quantitative approach to this. Difficult with humans in the factory. Yes, that's true. It's difficult to achieve. What else? Optimization, root cause analysis, emission. Yeah, this is emission, really. Preventive measures. So we have here also. So I really like this comments of you. Oh, FMEA making. Yes, this can be also why how we can achieve. Okay. I can see that there are a lot of answers. Like I also like this one with it's a requirement from the OEM and the goal for your PDCA. It's also very nice comment, really very nice comment. And we have CPK with 2. Yes, that's in the according to the statistics. Yes, then it's CPK 0. And 0 kilometers. Okay, so I really like a lot of answers. You, of course, I must say that no one is wrong in this. Yes, how you perceive this zero defects notion. So let's keep going. Okay, Christopher, maybe I will give you the voice. What is zero defect?
Okay, so yeah, as you say, no one is wrong. They're all concepts and mindsets, but to give you the concept or the mission, it's to never receive, never make, and never pass any defects. And this is the true meaning of quality assurance and error proofing. So many people in the chat have said some really good concepts, and they're all elements of this. But ultimately, what we're aiming for is not perfection. We're not aiming for a perfect product. It doesn't exist. There's no such thing as nominal. It's unachievable. So what we want to do is we want to try and give sort of a concept so it's unsustainable, and we will lead to the project being unviable. So if you want to strive for perfection, you never get anywhere. So we need to know the key requirements, which is the purpose of this webinar today. So we're trying to help you understand what key requirements are. How do we get this sort of mindset to work?
Okay, I also see on the chat some other comments, because they are still coming. Voice of customer should align with VOP. What else? From PPM to PM and zero defects here. Also nice comment. High satisfaction of customer with a horizontal and vertical mindset spread. This is also nice. We have also Six Sigma here. Also good. And prevention over correction. That's always true. Okay, so what is the key requirement? If we would like to discuss about these key requirements as a topic of our webinar, we also need to understand what we think about key requirements. How you understand these key requirements? Is there anything like that around QMS? I'm trying to avoid wording automotive, because there might be general QMS. Yes, like certified according to ISO 9001, where we also need to strive for continuous improvement, yes. However, what would be this key requirement? Where we should search for these key requirements? What shall be taken into consideration? There are already a lot of answers by defining zero defects where we can find some requirements. Maybe here you can also find out some answers for this. What is key requirement? The first what I see here is robust implementation of DMake. Oh, I like this wording, robust. Yes, very nice.
So this is over to the chat. Again, we'd like to see what your perception of a key requirement is. As Agatha says, it's not just particularly automotive, it could be in general in engineering, or it could be in quality assurance. Be interesting to see what your understanding or your knowledge of a key requirement is.
We are also quite curious of your experiences, yes, and we would like to also learn from you something which maybe we overmissed with our experiences, yes. Oh, we have also here the nice answers. Anything affecting function and conformity. Could be. What else? I don't want to go too fast to these key requirements, because I really would like to make sure that we all understand it in some way. Here also nice comment. I see component specifications. Okay, quite product specific. Performance should be judged by the acceptable standards as close to perfection as possible. Customer needs, legislative needs, safety needs, functional. Oh, really? I like this comment. Rafa, hello, Rafa. And reflection of TQM with MSA implementation. Only with MSA? I will ask this question. And function, safety, drawing, CSR. Okay, so you're more and more precise in your answers. CSRs. Okay, and process must be robust. Repeatability, less mistakes, like a Swiss watch smile. Okay. Okay, Christopher, I will go farther, okay? When there will be some other nice answers we'll display. However, let's go with this. What is the key requirement? Okay, so maybe you can you
tell us? So by the definition, you can check this on Google or through many texts or a dictionary, but key requirements are fundamental needs that must be met to achieve a goal or a success. So this is, the concept of a goal and so on. They are the limits or baseline, your minimum, your maximum of where you can work in terms of expectations that are essential to the success of a project or the business itself.
And what is the key requirement for automotive? And this is really quite important question, because let's be honest, there is no such statement like key requirement in ITF. Yes. So that's why it was important for us to try to feel how you understand this notion, because we decided to pick up such topic, and that's why now we are in this position that we need to be honest with you that there is no such statement. Yes, however, there is customer requirements, but customer requirements are all requirements specified by the customer, and such answers were also given by some of you. And as the examples, what we can have here is this: what can be technical, commercial, product specific, manufacturing process specific, general conditions, customer specific requirements, etc. Yes. However, there is another question: is it really all what should be said as key requirements for automotive? And actually, not only, but about this, we will keep going with the webinar, and we'll demystify this. What also, not only this, what customer requirements are here, could be understood as the key requirement. Okay, so guys, examples of key requirements. Let's stick to this. Christopher, this is for you. For
So
the product level.
yeah, at a product level. So this is not, you know, the process or the project level. It's more about a product must meet all statutory and regulatory requirements of the market it will enter. So the key point being the market. If you sell to the EU, there's a UN ECE requirements in automotive. If it's the UK, there's VCA requirements, as you can see on the screen. And it depends on what you're selling your vehicle to or your components. And the next stage to this, Agatha, would be, as we can see, the software needs to be stable and reliable. Obviously, it can't break randomly and have bugs. If it's a bracket, it needs to be strong and durable for the lifetime of the vehicle. And for example, fabrics that might be seating, textiles need to be the right color and styling. So they're all key requirements. They're all things that are either specified by the customer or by the supplier or by the final customer who actually buys the component.
So already from these examples, you can see that there are not only customer requirements, like before on the previous slide we said what is key requirement for the automotive, and I said not only those requirements for which are called customer requirements. From this slide already you can see that another portion of the requirements can be statutory and regulatory requirement, yes. And this is extremely important because even the quality management standards, like even starting from ISO 9001, are stating to this in the chapter in the clause 8.2 when we are starting the preparation for project management, for understanding the requirements, collecting the data of the requirements, that another source what has to be recognized is exactly statutory and regulatory requirements. Yes. Okay, let's keep going. Okay. Are the key requirements required by the IATF? I already said about this, okay? But you need to take this this question seriously, what we said, because it might be really confusing otherwise. It's not key requirements stated by the IATF. However, we may recognize some requirements in IATF, like being the key requirements. So the wording key is actually now small playing with the wording, yes? The key might be this, what we in our organization, according to each specific project, so actually very individual, can be regarded as what is key requirement for us in the organization. Of course, already, generally from the standard, we can take some extremely important key requirements, yes? However, it's not only this. Always we need to build on this what is from the system perspective, this what is individual for our organization and for the product. I believe I did not say anything new, and you already knew about this. So let's keep going. What can be found here? Okay. I would like to emphasize a few things. Yes. Because generally this is not the webinar that we will go clauses by clauses, yes. However, let's remember that IATF is really a big source of the requirements, and this is our initial thing what we need to recognize. Christopher later will tell you when actually the recognizing of the requirements starts, yes. However, it's not the initial contact with between the partners, yes, to talk already about the product, but also to build this product, to sell later on the market such product to our customer, requires even taking into consideration this what must be done by the system, yes, what is our requirement, yes, also not only from the system perspective, from the standard perspective, but also what in our organization we defined for ourselves, even on the corporate level, if you are working as a corporate, yes. Okay, so another point is statutory and regulatory requirements. Here are only a few chapters where it's explicitly said that you can't neglect statutory and regulatory requirements, yes. Starting from the product safety 4412, yes. And this is always the obligation of us as the producers to sell safe product, yes. And we need to foresee even unintended use of those products, yes. So here is really a big obligation on our shoulders. And later, I mentioned already clause 8.2, yes. 8.4, I'm not going so deep dive. 8.4 is supplier. Which information we need to cascade to the suppliers, yes. Already, if we are the owners of the design, and we know more than our supplier can know because we are specialists in this product, we shall cascade those statutory and regulatory requirements, and later in the serial production as well. Yes. What else must be done? I wanted to mention here that from my experiences when I meet different companies, I see that statutory and regulatory requirements is really a pain, because a lot of organizations, I'm not saying that majority or half, no, because it might be like with the sampling. Yes, maybe I just sample many organizations which really have difficulties even during the audit to tell me which statutory and regulatory requirements you recognized for your product, your production. Yes, this must be done at the very beginning. Yes, before you will go for the design and development. And special characteristics might be also a key requirement. Why? It's now about the definition of the special characteristics. Yes, because everyone who understands very well the notion of special characteristics knows that there are three categories of special characteristics. One is safety, second is statutory and regulatory requirements, so exactly what I mentioned in the IETF context, and the next one is, I would say, more negotiable portion of the features like fit, form, function, performance, characteristics, yes, which can be granted per specific project, yes. But safety and statutory and regulatory requirements, this is our obligation again, yes. No one would like to get harm from using the vehicle, yes. That's why in automotive it's also, in my opinion, one of the key requirements, yes. And why this IETF again? Because as you know, in maybe or not, that's why I will tell this explicitly. Everyone who is in automotive supply chain, but also let's be careful with this automotive supply chain, because automotive supply chain may be organized for the OEMs which are under IETF, yes. We have 11 of those, and therefore for them it's our obligation, our direction toward IETF. And IETF will support us in this zero defect directions, because the general aim of IETF is to reduce the variation in the supply chain, reduce the waste, and strive for continuous improvement. These are the most important goals of this standard, yes? And that's why we can't forget about this. And for those 11 OEMs, I'm not gonna tell you the names, because there are many OEMs around the world. For instance, from Asia, they are not certified, majority of them, and they're also striving for the same direction, zero defects, yes, and continuous improvement. But those under IETF should go toward IETF. Okay. Where to start? Where to start to be helpful for you? Chris, what would you say about this?
Well, I mean, the first thing is you need to look at your industry. So, for example, we talk about automotive, and before we move on to that, I'll get to automotive isn't just car manufacturing, it's bus manufacturing, it's truck manufacturing, it's motorcycle or motorbike manufacturing, and they are all within the scope of IETF 16949. But in terms of key requirements, you need to research and study your industry. What's the best practice and so on? What are other people doing? What do other suppliers do? If you move on to the next point, Agata, you need to confirm your industry standards and regulations. So what might work in the UK doesn't necessarily work in the EU. What works in China doesn't necessarily work in America. So it all depends, again, at the beginning of the presentation, where are you selling your product to, and where is the end destination it's going to? It's important to understand that.
Exactly. You need to know on which market your product will be in use and where to be sold. Yes, because you need to recognize those requirements. And sometimes the organizations have, let's say, some departments organized as remote locations where sales or even R&D is not next to the plants, and sometimes it's difficult later to to exchange information. And for instance, later when someone externally, like even auditor, is coming to you and asking you about this requirements connected to the statutory and regulatory recognized on different markets, the organizations have difficulty to answer this question because the information is not cascaded, from instance, from the sales department. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you also need to study the latest technology innovations which apply to the product or the process. So these are things, it's not just, what is a headlamp doing today versus what it was 10 years ago, or what is the technology going forward to actually control that process. So, originally a lot of things were handmade, hand assembled. As we become more efficient, we start using robots, we start using AI now to actually control processes. So you need to understand that whatever technology you use still complies with the key requirements of your customer, of your process, of your industry, of your product group. So whatever you change needs to still be able to meet the requirements.
And here, let me just mention, those of you who in your organizations have German OEMs, I'm talking here now about BMW, Mercedes, and Volkswagen Group. There is a function connected to product integrity. This was the topic of our last webinar last year, where we were discussing exactly about this, because PSCR, Product Safety and Conformity Representative, this is a position which also has to be connected with the fact that the organization did recognize the latest state of the art. Because if someone is changing, some organization, your competitors are changing the state of the art and making them popular on the market, your obligation is also to adjust to the latest state of the art. That's why it's really so important, and this on German market is, I would say, quite visible, this position, yes, because this is one of the requirements from the customer, yes, from those OEMs. So it's maybe more easy. However, that kind of responsibility, even not called as PSCR and connected to recognize the statutory and regulatory requirements and safety requirements on the product to assure the safety, is also the obligation of other producers who are not delivering on, also to those 3 German OEMs. Okay.
And I would say I would agree with that. So my time being in very high volume manufacturer OEMs, Asian ones and UK based ones and so on, that is in the contracts. It depends on the supplier and what they do, but it's not as visible as Agatha says. It's not a position or a title. There is something in the contract usually which says the supplier shall commit to, adopting industry best practices or adopting new technologies and so on. So it does tend to be in contracts depending on how mature and how large the OEM is, but it depends on the scale of the organization. But it's not as Agatha says, as visible as some of the German OEMs.
If you're more interested in this topic of product integrity, on Qualitywise YouTube channel, there is a recording from this webinar. So I really recommend you to just see what it is about. Okay, let's keep going here. Christopher.
So you need to review the product features and requirements. So what are the features? What's the advantages and benefits of it? So for example, if you took a headlamp has changed from halogen technology to LED, and I think probably a lot of us have had the blinding lights and dazzling lights of a LED, but it meets the regulation. Some of us have probably think, oh, that's too bright, that's new technology, I don't like these headlights, but they comply with the regulation, and that's a new product feature and requirement. But actually, it can be annoying to customers and people who drive on the road, even though it passes the requirements. So there's an example where we've adopted this new technology, but the regulation is loose enough to allow something which is like that. So it's interesting, but you need to review the product features and requirements.
And the last one.
And you need to consider market demands and customer expectations. So for those who believe in the EV revolution and net zero, that's obviously the market demands and customer expectations. It's being driven by governments around the world. It's being driven by, climate change and so on. But that's a market demand. Things are changing rapidly to meet the market demands for electrification.
Yes. So generally, I have now the thought. I hope your organization has already adjusted the context of your organization according to the climate change, yes, because this is what, for instance, is changing right now, yes, and is required. So this is just between the words. Okay, so now here, I think this is really something very important, what we also would like to discuss for you to give you some value of this meeting and paying your attention in connection to general life cycle of the product which your organization are doing and later selling, and they are distributed on the market. Christopher, maybe you will start.
So yeah, I mean, maybe we're thinking some people who are used to the IETF APQP, where does this webinar, this discussion take place? What does it mean in terms of the 5 phases of APQP? And where we are right now is we're looking at the request for information, RFI. We're looking at the request for proposal stage or the RFQ stage. This is where we're discussing with the suppliers and with the OEM. So if we're in the OEM shoes, we're saying to the supplier, you're the technology expert. You're the one that makes the headlamps that blind us in the nighttime and so on, or you're the supplier that makes the safety critical parts or whatever. They are the experts in the technology. And at this stage, the OEM typically will ask them for information. You know, is it suitable for my vehicle? Is it suitable for my bus or my motorcycle? Then the next stage to that would be we were asking for a request for a proposal. So the supplier would say, yes, I can meet the styling. Yes, I can give you the LEDs that blind you. I can do all these things. This is what I think you want. And it's the concept stage. Yeah. And then after that, we get a request for quotation. So the supplier will say, yeah, okay, based on what you want, this is how much it's going to cost based on the number of volume or the minimum order quantity or the sales forecast and so on. So this is where we are right at the beginning of the project. Before we make tooling, before we commit to anything with the supplier, this is the point of this webinar, is we're putting the key requirements in at this stage.
Yes, and later what is happening is actually advanced product quality planning. Yes, so this what is our RFI, RFP, RFQ. This is actually, let's say frankly, this what we are focusing tonight. Yes, the other stages, this is later. Yes, like our life cycle of the product is growing. Yes, the product is maturating. So let me just tell you that the next webinar already will be more connected to design and development. Yes, so we will jump out from this what is tonight RFI, RFP, RFQ. However, this is all together because let me emphasize that project management, I don't know, APQP or VDA MLA, what we have in automotive, because it's also relevant, starts with recognizing the requirements, but somehow the requirements must be gathered. And here there is one tricky thing. The question, who is design responsible? Am I getting the full design already at these initial steps, which Christopher discussed in a second before for you? Or am I responsible? Yes, my organization will be doing design and development. Yes, because then differently we will be approaching to recognizing those key requirements. Yes. Okay. We have luckily we have a lot of people which are connected to advanced product quality, even project management here. I see on the chat, so it's really very nice because this is really something which later can prevent our serial production if we will really work very well in this stage to later not do firefighting and really do a continuous improvement. Let me remind, you can't do continuous improvement according to IETF if you don't have stable and capable processes, because then it's not a continuous improvement, it's just improving or even correction, yes, and corrective actions implementation. Okay. What else I wanted to mention here, it's not only about recognizing the requirements before we will go further in the phases in APQP. It's also to confirm that we understand them and we are capable to apply them. And these are also the statements which we can find in APQP manual, how it is written there. Yes, bear in mind this. Okay, what happens if we do not identify key requirements? This is the question for you guys. Can you use on the chat?
Yeah, I really want to know from your experience, without being too specific about your company or whatever. In general, you know, when you've had a nightmare day and if the requirements don't work or they haven't been identified, how has that affected you personally or things you know about that's happened? What happens if you don't identify them and you continue as normal, as Agatha said, and you don't develop them at the beginning in your process? What happens?
Please don't only write, we will lose customer satisfaction. Yeah. This will always happen.
Yeah, this is guaranteed. Guaranteed. If you do something wrong, you're always going to lose customers. So we're just waiting now and see where we get with the chat.
Someone wrote all the core tools on the chat. Yeah. Let me display one funny comment. I was thinking I was getting old with those lights bumping.
That's from Georgie, and she's a great example of someone who's a part of the process, which is the change management aspect. So at some point in the process, she will be responsible to manage those changes, those requests, those requirements. So interesting.
Okay. Okay, I see first answers. Let me display what we have. Face problems with the customer, firefighting, yes. Less wrong focus, a lot of extra costs. There will be a lot of fire. Yes, we waste money, definitely.
True. That's true.
Okay, more work to rectify back to basic requirements. Oh, I really like this.
Yeah, one. I like that one. I like that one.
This one. What else do we have? Without identification of requirements, we will not implement pull strategy. Pull strategy, okay, for the process, if we are designing the process, I think this was meant. And here the comment, probably financial problems because bad negotiations. We're not going this direction, okay? We're not going this direction. I know that this is really difficult topic. What else? If we don't requirements on beginning of the project, we can't fulfill customer specification and we can't guarantee to them. Oh, this is really nice comment. This is really very nice comment. Claims, recalls, yes. Somehow I was waiting for this.
Yeah, a matter of time before someone talks about recalls. Yes.
Yes, project can fail due to poor design and functionality. Yes, that's true. I know few of such projects. Nothing, anything good, I would say. Okay, really nice answers. And you all, again, have right. Yes, these are your experiences, probably. I hope not that much. And also here, high issue resolution cost with no recourse, yeah. Because with supplier as requirements not fully defined. Yes, exactly. Later, the OEM or anyone in the supply chain on the higher level cannot come to supplier. Their supplier didn't do like I wanted, and the supplier is saying, but did you tell me that you want this? Yeah.
Yes.
Could be like that. I see there, and also last comment I will display. 8 wastes will be incurred in system if required, not properly tackled. Okay. Quite nice, quite nice. Okay, Christopher, let's summarize. Okay, because there were a lot of nice comments.
Yeah, excellent, and they're all relevant and all true. They're all factual, which is great. So, but what does that mean? So, as a funnel, we've got all of our different requirements going in, but as you can see, they haven't passed that process. So, what does it mean to us not to have it? So, it means we have a risk of not complying with the regulations, which means we're breaking laws. We're breaking laws of whatever country or market that we're trying to sell into in the end result.
Yes, and this is not only the customer who will be interested at that moment, but also some kind of national agencies. Yes, not easy topic.
We have
Another?
obviously customer dissatisfaction.
Yes.
Customer isn't
Oh my.
happy. They demand why do I have a problem? We trust you, dear supplier. We trust you. Or the final customer who buys your product maybe for a vehicle fleet. If you're a bus operator and you own multiple vehicles, they trust the bus manufacturer to build something okay, for example. We have warranty returns. So, how many times have we bought a product which is non-automotive and we're not happy with it? It doesn't work. We return it. It's the same for cars, motorcycles, buses. You'll get parts or the vehicle in the worst case being returned.
Yeah.
Loss of future sales or projects. So some of you may have felt this before with your customers or experienced this on the OEM level. But just because you win the project in the beginning and you've managed to get it to SOP and you've done this for the next 3 years, sometimes you lose the business because of what you did in the project, because you didn't capture the key requirements or you didn't control them in your process. So that can happen. And sometimes you might think, oh, great, I've won it and we've managed to win them over. But sometimes you don't win the OEM over in the end. So you have to be careful. You get scrap, inspection, and rework costs. So again, how many of you in this chat have had a bill from the customer and said, I've had to inspect or rework your inferior product or defective product, and the bill goes to you? That sometimes happens.
Who has scrap rate 0%? This is this utopia, I think.
It's the utopia. There's always some element of scrap. It's kind of like zero defect mindset. It's a utopia, I think.
Yeah. And all of this costs.
Exactly.
Cost of poor quality. Yeah.
If we summarize, that's what it is. It's the cost of poor quality.
There is one thing what I wanted to go further with the third point, warranty returns. What about recalls? We know already a few examples on the market of some organizations after the recall, they went bankrupt, yes. So be aware of such situations, yes.
Yeah, I mean, as an example, we all know that Fisker Ocean, that vehicle went bankrupt because of various issues, and that's the reason why, because they've had to put their vehicles on hold. They then can't continue the cash flow coming into the company, and eventually it closes. So it's not just down to startups. This can happen to well-established companies that have been around for 30, 40, 50 years. It can happen. A recall can kill a business.
Good said. We have also a nice comment from Rafał. If we don't identify completely, we should have problems on ITF audit, and this is always the moment of the truth. Yes, meeting the requirements later in practice. First was theory, yes, on the paper in the concept phase. Yes, later it was validated by our production, how we are applying those requirements. Yes, and ITF is this moment of change, checking this requirements. Okay, we hope you enjoyed this, what we prepared for you today. This is the initial point of this zero defect direction, but honestly, really good, solid identification of the requirements is really a cornerstone here. We couldn't start without saying all of this what we mentioned to you tonight. Probably it is maybe obvious for you, but believe us, from our experiences, we see that still for some organizations there might be here a black box in some areas. Yes, for me, generally, I think it is important for you to know that the requirements identification starts when we have the first contact with the customer, with this even request for information. Yes, and there is the moment when we can start recognizing the requirement, gathering all of them, yes, to review, to verify if they are acceptable for us, if they are feasible to meet later on the shop floor. Okay. Okay. Do you have questions, maybe more to ask, or maybe something to discuss? Generally, we try to display everything on the way during this webinar. However, there are maybe still some topics, some thoughts of you, what you would like to share with us. And we are here for you to share with you our knowledge and experience, maybe to help you. in this
Maybe you can ask a question which we've never experienced before. Let's say, you know, obviously Agatha and I have quite a broad range of experience being, you know, customers and suppliers. So it'd be interesting to see if anyone has a comment about key requirements or maybe something they are dealing with currently that they'd like our opinion on it, on our viewpoint.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Let me also display for you this slide, because it's really something which is actually summarizing everything what we were talking tonight. Yes, I mean, not maybe everything, but the idea where we are tonight. Okay, RFI, RFP, RFQ, it is here. Okay.
We want to give you the concept, because some of us were never at the beginning of this process. When I started my career, I wasn't involved in the sourcing side of suppliers or sourcing a new project or a new component. So I was at the end, you know, the dealing with the problems and thinking, why is this going wrong? Why didn't procurement do this? Or why didn't the design engineers do this? And at the beginning of my career, I didn't understand that. I didn't know that this process existed. I didn't know anything about APQP. Obviously now, with my experience, I know. And I know where it needs to be done. But it'd be interesting to see.
Okay, so guys, let me just at the end, if there are no questions or they're maybe still on the way, remind you that we will meet for another webinars in this series. Next one is proposed for 26th of February. And it will be connected to robust quality planning. Yeah, so this will be really a lot of concentration on design and development. Yes, so here we will propose something for you. Also very nice to meet the requirements. However, if there will be anything on the way from your side, you can always write to us, and we'll try later to respond. Even if you would like to share for the future webinars, we're open for discussion later to, you know, take your voice during our meetings. Okay, let me remind that everyone who joined on the way, please write your names, especially if you are not displaying, if you would like to receive the certificate of attendance. Yes, because if you attend 4 out of 6 these webinars, we will issue for you the certificate of attendance. Yes, however, we need to know who is with us, and sometimes the LinkedIn is not displaying. Yes. Okay, so generally this was all from our side. At the end, let us just invite you to our APQP training if you would like to learn how it is with these requirements at this initial stage more. Yes, and later how to take those defined requirements later to go through design and development and to serial production. Yes, not to have those firefightings. Okay. So this was all from our side. We would like to thank you for joining the webinar. We appreciate you are here with us. And we wish you very nice evening or afternoon still, yes.
Or morning for some people, depends on where they are, but good morning.
Good morning, yes. Thank you, and see you next time.